A bloody war for survival lasted for many years. The world that humanity knew was completely destroyed. The lives of thousands of people changed forever. Now, with the appearance of monsters, all of humanity was on the verge of extinction. And all this happened because of one man. The Earth was a living hell. The general who won the world war. The general could not stop. He held all of humanity in his hands. The cruel leader took away everyone's freedom and equality. He drew cruel lines between people, creating boundaries between them. Thus, cruelty was born. He tried for a long time to change human psychology and turn people into slaves ready to kill. As a result, death no longer had any meaning. From a dictator, he became a cult figure and created his own ideology, the essence of which was death and violence. He was a cruel emperor who ruled the whole world and all people. Their goal was destruction and chaos, which began to reign on Earth. People did not understand the main thing and joyfully applauded him. The man was able to become a deity, whom they began to worship and glorify. And those who did not listen to him became abnormal. They were rejected by society. He was among those who started the war. The main character is an experienced soldier. He was the one who tried to fight for peace and justice. He was the one who fought monsters for the sake of all the people who did not support him at all and tried to destroy him. It was more than a war. It was a game of survival, in which only a few and the most adaptable would survive. Only one would survive. And on this battlefield, it had to be him. It was a difficult time when you had to kill. Many simply had no choice, so they did it for their own survival. At that very moment, another life was lost. The bullet flew straight into the poor soldier's head. In this game, he lost. People rejoiced that now there was a new winner of the tournament. Thousands watched what was happening. They applauded the new hero and congratulated the winner. What an ordinary girl who had never killed before could become. Now she had turned into a monster and cold-bloodedly dealt with everyone who stood in her way. A woman in a wheelchair watched the games the whole time, but she didn't understand if the heroine was really happy about her victory. Suddenly, a guest who came every day to visit her came in. Every day, the guy came at the same time, and she was happy to see him. But today, she seemed upset and not like herself. She didn't really understand why people had become so cruel, and why death had now become entertainment for all of them. The man tried to cheer Julia up and asked if she had eaten anything. They had food, thanks to her brother, who provided them with everything they needed. But today, he came with sad news. Life had changed. Now he had to leave. And in fact, he didn't know if he would ever be able to return. And he began to apologize because he really didn't want to leave her. That evening was ordinary. Nothing foreshadowed trouble. Suddenly, an alarm sounded, warning the whole city of danger. This had never happened before, so people were completely unprepared for it. The hero woke up to the alarm, but for a long time, he couldn't understand what was happening. But suddenly, he woke up and got out of bed. The guy felt anxious. He told her to stay in bed while he went to check what was really happening. The man approached the window and began to listen. It was a check. All citizens had to be checked in order to find traitors. For safety reasons, everyone had to obey the police robots and do what they were told. The army began searching the streets, checking every house. The hero began to get noticeably nervous. He wasn't ready for this, especially on this evening. Now, people's screams could be heard in the street. The works were removed from their own homes for neutral suspicion and violation. The guy understood, if they want to survive, you need to run away. Therefore, they quickly started collecting things, and Julia didn't understand what happened. After a while, they have already left their own apartment and were outside. People began to flee, escaping from death and torture. Fires and panic began in the city. The works used weapons against those who tried to resist. Suddenly, Julia has a very bad head, and she almost lost consciousness. Suddenly, the guy stopped on the middle of the street. He saw a bright ray of light that came to them and heard the steps. The police shone the flashlight just on them, and now the work began to approach. Immediately, they began to use weapons and tried to attack fugitives. The hero got a strong blow to the current, and his whole body became paralyzed. The blow was very strong and painful, so he could not hurt anything. He lost consciousness and found himself on Earth. On the verge of life and death, he tried to rise and overcome the pain. Meanwhile, the works were able to reach Julia. They turned her cart, and now she also found herself on the ground and was helpless. She was very scared, and she didn't understand what she would expect. Suddenly, scanning began. Who had to determine whether they were traitors to the state? The works were checked by the data of their pupils and blood with the help of an accurate laser. After that, the boy was detained by law. He was assigned 5 years in prison. Victor began to pick up a police officer, and the girl could not help him. In fact, the guy was in the army resistance. The police found out all the information about it by scanning, and they concluded that he was the enemy of the people. By force, he was started to be taken away and loaded into a military car. He asked Julia not to approach so that she was also not hit. Now, he was ordered to arrest and establish cruel punishment. The stroke again, much stronger than the previous one. It was painful. However, he realized that difficult trials would be waiting for him. The girl remained alone, helpless, in the middle of a night city street. He will no longer be able to help her and did not know when they could meet again and be together. But he knew it would end quickly. Therefore, despite the crying and cry of Julia, he tried to sit quietly. He convinced her that everything would be fine and everything was fine with him. And this was only a temporary nightmare, like a terrible dream. But suddenly a police officer came and ordered to kill all the rebels and witnesses to the last person. But the robot did not dare to shoot and kill a girl, because the check showed that it was not on the rebel list and it did not carry any threat to the government. But a cruel man thought completely differently. He again ordered to kill her. However, this time the works did not obey it. At this point, the hero was completely broken, and the police officer, joining the gun to the head of Julia, was about to kill her. It seemed that the main character's heart stopped at this moment. He could not allow through him, not a guilty person, especially Julia. She was frightened and already prepared to die. The man asked who she was for Victor and why he took her with him and tried to save. Victor did not answer. He knew that any answer could turn against him. It seemed that Julia was disappointed in it because she looked at him as a traitor. And then he replied that she was no one for him. It was hard, but he realized that only so could it be saved the girl's life. It seemed that his response was satisfied with the police officer. Therefore, he ordered him to take it away and put it in the car. However, he continued to keep the girl and seemed to not even about to let her go. At this point, Victor realized that something was wrong here. It seemed to be deceived, and knowing that, she started crying. And the policeman smiled, horrifying. His face was horrible at that moment. Now he was preparing to shoot again, so he shot the trigger on the gun. In an anger impulse, Victor began shouting. He wanted to break free, but the works were holding it firmly and began to beat again. To restrain it, they used a current again, but even that did not help and stop the guy. He tried to resist and stay on his feet. Still, he managed to escape, and right now he rushed to rescue his girlfriend. He was in his best. He hurried to her because he understood that she could have perished at any moment. However, he did not have time, and the police officer fired on Julia's face. She was too young to die. The robot also fired, trying to stop the hero. Blood appeared on his body, and he felt as she began to flow on his belly and back. Julia was dead, and now he will never be able to turn back in life to correct everything and return it. A police officer is a cruel man who was satisfied with his work. A person's life meant nothing for him. He was lying near the body of the dead Julia and wept, because now nothing could be changed. Suddenly, an unknown girl who had never seen before was approached. She was very surprised that even after the wound he managed to survive and he could even move. The police officer ordered her to go so that the hero and the dead woman could spend time together. But the girl saw that he died through a terrible wound on his back. The guy was crying in pain. He wanted to beat, scream, but he couldn't. The girl said goodbye to him and went away. And the man continued to lie in his own blood in the rain. He was going to take revenge, and his revenge will be cruel. 5 years ago, he just got out of Vianitsa and he had nothing. Suddenly, a girl who wanted to help came to him. It was a Julia that smiled at him and brought some food. It seemed to be very sincere to him, because she could not leave the person on the street to die from cold and famine. She became his rescuer, and for that, he was grateful to her until his death. She was able to help him in those difficult times, but now he was lying in their bed. In law, he looked after him and helped in treatment. It was he who found him and took him home. He rescued him and now constantly oversees Victor and treated his wounds. However, Victor still felt very bad. His chest and wound were hurting. In addition, the thirst for revenge did not give him rest, and he promised to do everything to kill his enemies. He turned on the news that reported a dangerous offender who tried to attempt an official. She was Sylvia, the former winner of survival games. Now it also became the insurgents and has already been searched. Lieutenant Miller was the main thing in the fight against traitors, so he was tasked with this task. In the morning, his rank was increased because he managed to catch one of the criminals. Hearing this, Victor almost crazy about anger. So it was the same freak who killed his lover and almost took away his life from himself. On TV, Miller talked about his special unit. It was a team that was not guided by people, but work, because police did not want the risk of their lives. In addition, it was very strange that Miller was able to move so quickly and get such a high rank. He was the son of Generalissimus, so it was expected. In addition, the powers of this scoundrel have been expanded, and now he could do everything he pleased. Also, it was stated that survival games had to be closed. However, Miller personally forbade to do so, because he wanted all people to see blood and get used to his regime and cruelty. And while their special unit exists, they will control and hunt all insurgents. Victor could no longer listen to him. He understood that he was now, the man became a serious enemy for him. So survival games and all, and cruelty will continue. From anger, Victor gnashed his teeth. He tried to break the TV because he could no longer see the general. Victor realized that the place on Earth would become a hell for him and such as him. However, most of all, he wanted to take Miller with him. When he got better, they decided to bury Julia on a high hill near the tree. The grave was very modest, and near the wooden cross, he put her photo. Victor tried to hold on and not lower his hands. It was difficult for him, because he blamed himself most of all in her death. The man merged with himself, and he hated that he came to her that evening and pulled behind. In-law was painful to watch him. When Victor would be able to take revenge, he asked to bury him next to her after his own death. It was his last desire, and the only thing he wanted. Now the difficult days began. The hero trained and became better. Before the beginning of the survival game, very little time remained, so he had to have time to bring himself to good shape. Victor did not keep his effort and time. He had to be the winner in the game and prove that is a worthy rival. The thought of revenge did not give him rest. After all, it is after the games he will have a chance to get closer to his enemy and strike. As before in-law, he constantly came to him and brought food. This time, he brought special materials about a survival game that had to start. To participate, it was necessary to go through regional selection, and there was too little time. In-law had to flee and wanted to bring a hero with him. However, he had completely different intentions. He could not continue to use his kindness and eat his food. But in-law was not about to throw it. He brought a bag of money for all the expenses that will be needed for cooking. Victor could not believe his own eyes. He was grateful to him for everything he did for him. After all, the guy risked his life and freedom, because of contact with the detainee, he could also be accused of crimes. Victor wanted to shake his hand. In-law, he was glad that now they were real friends. He promised to thank him for everything he did. Victor came to a big city in order to start making its plan. Now they were preparing for the hardest stage in their lives, the beginning of survival games. Among people, there were many experienced participants, and soon, they will all become enemies, and they will kill each other for survival and glory. Because only 1 of 100 people will be able to survive and go the game until the end. Such were the rules, and now that they were to enter the arena, there was no way back. There were flags from a photo of a party leader who was organizer of the tournament. He said that each participant was waiting for glory, wealth, and success. But everyone knew that, in fact, it was not at all. Games. It is only cruelty, blood, and death. It is not clear that made everyone go to the right death. However, the gates began to open. All people were met by a man in military uniform. It seemed that it was a general. The man seemed very harsh and cruel, and his appearance spoke everything for himself. Each of them, for a long time, remembers this moment of their own life. However, Victor decided, no step back. He will not give up for nothing and retreat from his goal. It crossed the threshold of the arena and entered the inside where it all began. The doors behind them closed, and people were in a narrow hallway. Inside was very clean, light, and good. Ahead, there were large doors that only had management access to. Now they are in a narrow and dark room. The men were divided and forced to stand at a distance from each other. And now, they needed to wait until their serving began. Unlike others, the main character sat on Earth and seemed very calm. He was approached by one of the participants who wanted to get acquainted and find out what they named and forced to get inside the arena. Also, the old man offered him to unite in order for them to be more likely to survive. Suddenly, the door to the room opened. However, Victor did not even want to listen to him, but was attached to his own purpose. A lot of soldiers have entered the room. They lined up in a row and waited for the emergence of the man. The man greeted all the participants and began to applaud them. There was silence inside, and everyone was watching what would happen next. The man named his name and greeted each of them. Now everyone had to find a special device that will be from the beginning to the end. It was a clock that contained all the necessary information. Now they had to go to the arena, so each of them had to follow the instructions. Each of the men had a number. Suddenly, an unknown man clicked his fingers, and everyone realized that on his team, something incomprehensible began to happen. Many of them were difficult to maintain the balance. The clock fully controlled the body of its owner. The man began to smile maliciously watching it. A special device reminiscent of the camera appeared in front of each player. Each had his own that corresponded to his unique number. This could be easily defined by the same number that was on the clock. It was like a small house, and now everyone could enter inside. Victor was hostile to what happened, however, tried to remain calm. When he entered, he noticed that it was quite spacious. Inside was a chair and a seatbelt that had to send a person at the beginning of the test. The countdown has also begun. Each of them has to be moved to a special arena. Teleporting was accompanied by severe pain and stress that each of the people felt. It seemed that boxes began to fall underground. But suddenly, they, like rockets, got into the air. Now, they were flying in an unknown direction, directly into the place of their battle. From that moment on, they were no longer friends, but have become swallowed enemies for each other. Victor realized that now he began to feel much better, and the flight managed to move calmly. They continued to rise uphill. Then, each of the capsules went down in different places, far from other participants. The main character realized that he managed to move into a foggy forest. Also, he learned that the likelihood of falling out of valuable items was very low. The level of danger in this place was very high. Victor left his capsule to see what happened around him. The first thing he managed to see is a small house near him. Now, he prepared. From that moment on, a deadly survival game began. Each cell of his body was ready for it. He did not forget about his abuser, and about a sweetheart, through which he was preparing for so long to this day. Now he began to run. He wanted to increase his level until other people did. Finally, he managed to get to him. He carefully opened the door and wanted to enter inside. It was quite cozy and spacious. Sometime, it can be a good place for overnight stay or rest. He started to search the house but found nothing but a stick. Also, there was a special cloak. He decided to take it with him to hide from the rain and be able to survive the cold night. Suddenly behind himself, he noticed another, very interesting item. 74-4. It was an axe that, moreover, was very easy and reliable. But he was going to look for further until he could find a normal weapon. It was necessary to hurry up, and until the sun was setting, he had to find food. Victor began to run to find new places. Suddenly, he stopped because he was able to see what attracted his attention. A few meters from him, the house was abandoned. It seemed there could be valuable things, so he tried to get inside. However, Victor was in no hurry and carefully opened the door to make noise. He looked carefully at the corridor and tried to find traces of other people. There was a lot of broken glass on the ground, and it seemed to be safe there. Make sure that there was no one inside. He dared to go. Now, he looked at every room trying to find resources. However, he did not relax and listened carefully what happened around him. The rooms had a lot of beds with clothes, and it seemed it was a psychiatric hospital. Now, he realized that there should definitely be some medicines or other valuable items inside. Suddenly, he saw a storage and right now tried to go there. And convinced that it was safe there, the man opened the door. As suddenly, another man began to approach the house. He was already injured, so he tried to find medicine faster for himself. Victor ignited matches that he could find in the middle. He began to look carefully at the shelves in search of resources. Among them was something he didn't expect to see. It was water, and he was happy when he found it. Immediately, he began to drink, because for the whole day, he was tormented by a terrible thirst. Also, there were so many medicines on the shelves that he was going to take with him. But there was no thing he came for, food. However, Victor continued to search and looked at each shelf. As suddenly, he heard the sounds that resemble someone's steps. There was no doubt that there was someone inside, so he extinguished the match. Victor grabbed an axe and prepared for battle. He was moving quietly but heard the sounds of steps approaching him and became more expressive. It didn't seem to be, so now it was necessary to find a safe place and wait for the enemy's appearance. Now, the sounds were heard from a room with broken glass. The enemy was too close to him. Victor prepared. Here he must appear. As suddenly, he saw the dark silhouette of a man who was approaching him. He waited, but he did not dare to enter inside. Also, he saw blood on his body and realized the victim was injured. This meant that he had already met with other people and was able to get out of the battle. It seemed that the man was very confused because he spoke with himself and was afraid to enter. But Victor saw what changed his presentation about the enemy. He had a weapon, a real rifle that could be killed at a distance. Now the axe will definitely not help him. It was necessary to suddenly attack him to be more likely to win. And, waiting for the best moment, he decided to strike. He struck the enemy with an axe, and he found himself on earth and began to flow blood. Victor smashed his head and watched the body lay in his own blood. Now, he understood that it was necessary to flee in order not to attract attention. At that moment, he began to panic. After all, I realized they were observed with the help of the camera, which was there. The tournament organizers watched each of them. It seemed like a lot of people seemed from the beginning because they were frightened. They realized that Victor, by number 323, began to collect all the necessary items. Now, the people who watched the broadcast were making great pawns on him as a future winner. All this was needed for the sake of regional selection. Due to fear and adrenaline, Victor's hands began to tremble. The weapon he found was very good and was made specifically for hunting. But there are very few ammunition, only 2 shots. Victor tried to check his documents. It was a second-grade man who was also a knife. He continued to look carefully at his body and realized that the man had been injured. But wounds were not from weapons or knife. It seemed that these were teeth or claws. He is some monster or beast. And the participants, they could not exactly cause such injuries. Also, he realized that in fact, the man was running away from something. Now he himself needed to get out of this dangerous place. Therefore, gathering all his things, he left the house. And the body of a man is left to lie on the ground. This night, he decided to spend on a tree because it was only here that you could feel safe. It was very late, and he didn't even hope to see someone. However, he did not want to sleep in order not to lose vigilance. He saw a fiery ring that sooner or later forced all participants to get closer. Then, they will have to fight each other to death. And among all, remain only one. And he must become he. The circle decreased every day at the same time. Therefore, it was necessary to leave the territory before. A few days will pass, and then the safe zones will not remain at all. Suddenly, he saw the vision and ghost of his girlfriend. Julia seemed very confused and wanted to say something. The guy could not believe his own eyes and seemed very confused. Maybe it was some kind of warning. Suddenly, she started talking, and now she was already growing up to him. They said that it was necessary to get up and run away. Suddenly, the guy began to look around him carefully. On the clock 4 in the morning, he fell asleep and realized that it was a dream. Julia tried to wake him up. It was at this point that he heard a strange voice and people who began to approach him. Now he saw 2 men running on earth. One of them had a knife and wanted to kill his enemy. The victim tried to escape. The day before, he tried to meet Victor. But an armed man did not want to let him go and continued to persecute. Suddenly, he noticed that the tree was Victor and watched him. The hero recognized him because it was the same old man. He watched him carefully, and suddenly, he saw the old man caught on the tree lying on the ground. Now he was on the ground, and the enemy began to approach him. Victor decided to kill someone who stays last, and he began to watch their battle and how old they cut off their hand. The man continued to cut it with a knife and killed it coldly. Now that the old man was dead, he was ready to make a shot, and only waited for the best moment. However, at the time of the shot, he stopped. After all, I saw that behind the man was a huge silhouette. It seemed it was a giant monster. From fear, the guy started screaming. He had no chance to escape, and monster struck. Victor realized that sitting on a tree was very risky. Therefore, he descended and began to flee as far away from the place where everything happened. He ran all his efforts without looking around. He was scared and seemed like a mutant pursuing him. Now it became clear why the level of danger was so high, and why the guy had such a strange wound on the body and from which he tried to escape. The developers who decided to add a monster to the game for survival were real psychics. Victor did not know what to do and in which direction it was necessary to run. This night, the monster killed 6 people. He only had to find the victim, and further, he would not stop. The guy realized that he would not be able to run for so long. Very soon, the monster began to approach him and is about to catch up. Suddenly, he realized that he was in the same place. It all started with a hand. Also, he saw the same house he managed to find at the beginning of the game. The monster managed to approach the hero and try to attack him. However, Victor was able to break away again. He struggled to run to the house that was his only salvation. The only way to get inside is a window. Therefore, without thinking, Victor split and jumped inside. The glass flew, however, the monster, his paw, was able to touch him and injure him. He was very lucky because if another second, Victor would hardly be able to stay alive. The guy was scared because he didn't understand how such a strong mutant could be defeated. Especially inside the house was very dark. I had to light a signal checker. On the only way, he will see the body of the monster and be able to aim normally. The window was too small, so the beast could not get inside. However, the other danger was the door that he completely forgot. Victor rushed to them. He needed to do his best to prevent him from breaking through the house. Therefore, he began to close them with his own body. The beast began to break and knock the door. Victor tried to hold on and not give up. But the beast also did not give up. Each time he beat stronger and stronger. Victor's forces are almost left, but he continued to hold on. But suddenly the monster ceased to knock. That was very strange. Suddenly he realized that he had happened what he was most afraid of. After all, the beast began to destroy the house and right now broke the adjacent wall. His hand was inside and now he began to look for the main character. And Victor, pressed against the wall, prayed to get it. He decided to act because he knew that if he did not do anything, he would die. Therefore, he got his own axe and struck a strong blow. From the pain, the beast began to scream, and from his hand, a blue fluid like blood. The guy realized that defending the door was not effective. Therefore, the last hope is a gun. He prepared, aimed, and made an accurate shot, injuring him again. It seemed to be able to stop the mutant for a while, because he was no longer so active and began to drain. Victor liked to watch the monster suffering from pain and flowing blood, but it seemed like a mutant was not going to go anywhere. All the time, Victor remained incredibly tense. The guy didn't know what to expect from his opponent, so he was preparing for the worst. Especially, the light will soon go out. And while it was visible, he decided to treat his wounds in order not to get blood contamination or other infection. The people who watched the main character understood that he managed to survive in a mutant clash. They tried to find out what happened in each zone, and whether there were any mistakes while playing, and no one has experienced trouble. They watched how a huge number of people died, and it has fun. Many of them refused to participate in the first minutes of the test, but they could no longer get out. On the first night, a lot of people were killed who were the weakest. But it was his first round of head further to become more difficult and harder. Now, the developers doubted the need to bring monsters and make them hunt for people. But the main thing did not want to give up this idea because it was their best development. After the first round, a lot of new mutants that were upgraded had to appear in the territory. That's how they wanted to make a new weapon that could be used to reassure people. Before that, it was necessary to check all the data as best possible to keep the mistakes. But when scientists looked at the report, they realized that something was wrong. Their best instance had a huge mistake. It could not be measured during development, and now the monster could not be stopped. The developers began to shout, so the main ran into the office and wanted to look at everything that happened. He saw that the body of their best mutant was damaged. Namely, his hand and head were burning in red. The director wanted to know who was able to do it, so he made the last entry. A while, the girl began to execute his order. All people focused and saw the same video, where Victor, protecting himself, fired just in the face of the mutant. The next morning, he left his house and went in search of a new safe place. Last evening, he lost a lot of blood, so now he felt very bad. His head was terribly crashed. But despite this, he continued to move on. Now, the guy wanted to review all his things he had. During the mutant, his axe was not as sharp as before. In addition, he no longer had ammunition. And there is very little water. From the weapon that could be protected, only a knife remained. Therefore, gathering all his things when he tried to come up with a new plan. The clock was morning, so most people have already woke up and started killing each other. And while the safe zone has not decreased, it was necessary to find as many weapons and resources as possible. Suddenly, a few kilometers from himself, he saw birds and heard a strange noise. These were people who fought with each other and so tried to find this resource. Victor began to move in that direction and very soon saw the body of a dead guy. He lay on the ground and his head was crushed. In addition, Victor noticed that it was very hot on the street. So the sun was rising and very soon it was fully sweated. Besides, there was a fire ring near it, which meant that it was very close to the end of the area. The guy understood that he had to run away because he was at risk of not having time until the area was smaller again. He was moving for several hours in a row, so he decided to find a repository for himself. He tried to carefully inspect the terrain around him, and he listened carefully as suddenly a strange noise attracted his attention. Victor got a tree to look closely at the terrain around him, and suddenly he saw the most valuable find for himself. It was a river with water that was very close to it. The guy began to run in her direction. It was water that was so necessary for its survival and survival of many other people. But before giving water, he carefully inspected the terrain around him. It seemed no one was there, and this place was safe. The main character saved water very much, but now he could use any quantity. Leaning on the river, he tried to understand whether it could be drunk just like that. In addition, he saw what he had given hope. After all, there were crayfish inside the river that could be caught and eaten. At the same moment, he began to dive and tried to catch several of them. If they lived in the water, then it could be drunk. So he also got drunk. At that moment, he was truly happy. The guy left his things near himself, and himself tried to wash his body and wipe blood after yesterday's wound. 91. He tied his wound and tried to stop the bleeding that started again. Also, he scored a new portion of water, and the crayfish he managed to catch could be cooked. As suddenly, he felt severe sharp pain that appeared in his hand. And when he saw blood, he realized that he had been injured. Now he needed to find shelter for himself as soon as possible. He used the stones that lay near him. The guy wanted to look to try to see his enemy, but again shot. The shooting continued, and Victor could not leave the shelter. His hand hurt severely and the blood did not stop. Victor tried to impose a bandage not to die from bleeding. Again the shot. This time the bullet almost hit him. Victor did not know how much he was nailed and how he could get out of the shelter. As suddenly, he realized why there were so many corpses around him. Most likely, they have appeared here recently, because the blood was very fresh. He came the brilliant idea he could use. It was his last hope, so no doubt he started working. Touching a dead man, he realized that he had died just recently. Maybe he died a few hours ago. Victor realized that he was very mistaken because there were always hunters near the water who were waiting for their prey. Well, it was necessary to calm down and decide what to do next. Now he tried to establish from what direction the shooting was. He pulled out his cloak from the shelter and hit him immediately. The guy tried to take into account the trajectory and the sound of the shot, and realized that his enemy was very close. Judging by your husband's body lying near him, well, it was concluded that his enemy was hiding in the nearest forest or on a tree. Now, he tried to drag the body of a dead man closer to himself. The sniper, who was hiding in the bushes, watched the shelter carefully and waited until he began to flee. He was prepared, and at any time was ready to shot. And the stone behind which the main character sat, he always tried not to keep his sights on. Suddenly, he saw someone's part of the body from the shelter. Without thinking, he immediately made a shot. And after he heard a terrible cry of Victor, he saw the body fell to the ground. To make sure that the guy is to die, he again shot him. However, he did not even suspect the dead body was the same guy he killed the day before. The enemy waited for a while to make sure that the guy was dead. The man was very angry because he could not kill him immediately and used so many ammunition. Now he had no doubt because the guy really died, so he was moving bravely in his direction. The man did not even suspect how much he could be wrong. So he calmly approached his body and tried to start a search to find some valuable resources. He stopped just in front of a dead guy. The shooter lost prudence and not even looked around. It was at this point that the main character appeared, who was going to strike a strong blow. He hit him with a knife right into his neck. From what he fell to the ground and began to drain. Blood was everywhere, on the face, hands, Victor clothes. He brutally killed a man and would do it again. Now he will never relax again or lose care. 2. And the man was just lucky, but now he was also dead. And the man was just lucky, but now he was also dead. He could have a lot of valuable things that a guy could take with him. Therefore, he began to carefully search his items and clothing. For the first time in a few days, he was able to find food that was in his bag. This find was very valuable because he did not eat for several days, remained very hungry. Chocolate and candy quickly restored its energy. Also, he found a shop for 20 shots. Also, he had the same gun. He remained satisfied because the things found were very valuable and could help him. He switched a little. He knew he had to move on. Right now, he had to get to the safe zones until she started narrowing again. But there was a fog that became thicker, because of which he saw nothing. He left the body of a dead man by the water, and he went forward. First of all, he must remain alive and take revenge on his abusers. When he opened his eyes, he saw a huge flame. The fire was everywhere, and the heat was so strong that it will not be able to break free. The guy was in the center of a huge fire. Suddenly, he realized that he was not alone because he felt someone's presence. Also, he heard a very familiar and native voice that can recognize from many others. It was a vision in which he was able to see Julia again. But this time, she was no longer so calm and seemed to be very scared of something. She tried to explain to him and wanted to convey some information, but he could not understand anything. Suddenly, the woman began to shout and try to break free from the flames. However, nothing happened and she was at risk of burning alive. In the end, the main character woke up, did not realize that it was just a terrible dream he saw her again in his distinguishing. But it seemed that she wanted to warn him again, and nightmares continued to torment him. Suddenly, he felt he had become very hot. And suddenly, he realized what his dream meant and what tried to say Julia. Just this moment, he was surrounded by a huge fire. The fire was so strong that very quickly captured trees and a piece of vast area. The forest began to burn, and Victor was on one of the trees that also started to burn. It was necessary to run as soon as possible, because very soon it would die. Realizing this, Victor gathered his things and started fleeing. But did he be able to miss the time when the territory narrowed? He couldn't believe it, because he always remained very careful and knew the exact time. Moreover, it was not so late now, and the territory should be narrowed late at night. It was definitely something else and seemed to be involved in the fire. The whole forest was captured by a huge flame that destroyed everything in its path. However, there was no time to stand and look. He did not want to risk his own life again, so he began to flee in his best. No matter what, he did not forget about his mission and what he had to win in the games. Suddenly, he saw many other people who did not have time to leave the forest and were on fire. They began to burn alive and shouted at unbearable and severe pain. He was not going to help anyone and tried to flee as soon as possible so that he would not be on fire. The hero tried not to look back, but only heard the terrible cries of people who pleaded for help. He saw the men began to chase him. I tried to escape. They ran in an unknown direction, but Victor understood that there was no time to fight them. Just now, he had to run to the center of the fiery ring because the area began to narrow much faster than he expected. A complicated decision was made by developers a few minutes ago. They specifically made the area so small to finish the first stage faster. The director was sure that it was really necessary, when the developers were not sure of its decision. However, they executed the order as he said. Due to the fact that survival rules were very complicated, they received a huge number of warnings from the system. In addition, they reduced the area to a minimum, and now people will have to fight each other. Many of them did not even have time to find weapons or other valuable supplies. So now, a real hell will take place in the arena. The director will be pleased to observe everything that will happen. Due to their decisions, a lot of people died. Many participants chose tactics and did not want to rush and go to the center. Therefore, they did not have time to leave the territory and burned alive. The director was constantly watching the protagonist and how he managed to survive. Even in such a situation, he made a special impression on him. Finally, they stopped and decided that it was enough to reduce the territory. But there were problems with their monsters because the management was broken. However, they didn't even think to stop it, but was going to repair everything after the test was finished. Now he realized that his monster was not sufficiently tested, and they could not even predict about the consequences that could happen. The only thing left to follow the course of events by people can fight the mutant. Meanwhile, Victor couldn't understand what was happening. Why did the territories narrow so sharply just as no one expected it? Obviously, developers and leaders were involved in it. They wanted to sharply reduce the huge number of participants to move to the most interesting. Suddenly, he saw him from soldiers who fire lit up and began to run in his direction. His face and body began to burn, and he grabbed Victor and was not going to let go. Suddenly, the man began to strangle him. He wanted to pick up the main character with him, and he was ready to kill him in any way. Now the men were on the ground and unknown, grabbed Victor by the hand. He held it firmly, however. The hero managed to escape. At the same moment, he took the knife and tried to reflect from the attack. So he started to beat him in his stomach, causing serious wounds. Finally, it was able to stop it, so the unknown released Victor. A serious wound did not allow him to continue to fight. The enemy began to drain blood and sat on earth, waiting for his death. Besides, he had very severe bleeding, so the blood came from his mouth. Victor wanted to complete his suffering, so it was at this point that he prepared for a decisive blow. He hit him again with a knife, just in his throat. Finally, he managed to kill a man who tried to take away his life. Now, Victor realized that he had to run as soon as possible. His enemy was dead. Now, the number of each appeared. It determined the total number of participants who remained alive and continued to fight. Now, there were no more places in which resources could remain, because people searched all abandoned homes and were able to find everything. The main character understood that he was scary, but it was necessary to calm down and come to himself. The final battle was waiting for him, on which everything depended. Therefore, he decided to get rid of things that were no longer needed. He gave all the water and ate all the food he had left. After that, he left his bag. She was no longer necessary because the game will soon end. With every minute, he saw that the participants were getting smaller and smaller. So now, he was no longer afraid to go to the center where the greatest confrontation took place. He was tuned very seriously, then tried to stay calm. At any price, he should win for the sake of revenge. Before starting the battle, he stopped and thought again of Julia, for which he started. Meanwhile, a brutal battle between all the people who managed to survive began. They killed each other with bare hands. When tried to surround each other and used all possible options to kill, many of them resorted to very cunning tactics and only waited for a moment to strike. The bodies of dead people lay on Earth, but no one paid attention to it. The main character, choosing a safe place for himself, was ready to open fire. The number of participants again began to decline rapidly, but he tried not to look at the clock and not be nervous. He asked for one of the enemies, and after waiting for the moment, he made a well shot. When it got right in the head, torn it into pieces. 2. Now in the arena, one participant has less. Now, there is one less participant in the arena. Suddenly, Victor will see an enemy a few meters away. At the last moment, he managed to change his position and escape by saving his own life. When he saw what was scared of it very much. That was Monster, whom he had already met before and almost died. The monster rushed to one of the guys and killed him in seconds. Without stopping for a second, the beast destroyed everything in its way. He killed people one by one so their number decreased rapidly. Victor realized that he had to run to save his life. Therefore, he began to run despite the fact that he was at risk of encountering other dangerous people. He saw the house in front of which the ladder stood. It was a good opportunity to hide on the roof of the house and wait until the monster goes away. At the same time, he was able to find a shotgun that could be used. Now, holding a weapon in his hands, he struggled to run in the direction of the house. The monster lagged behind and continued to chase it. Victor believed that if he finds himself on the roof, he will be able to protect himself and Monster will not reach him. In any case, he hoped that the monster would be able to switch his attention to someone else. Now that he was in a new safe city, he began to watch what was happening. He witnessed how the monster attacked 2 participants who were not suspected at all. They have never seen a mutant before and did not know how strong and dangerous it could be. Therefore, they did not even try to escape and immediately found themselves in the risk zone. They wanted to try to kill him because it was the only chance to rescue. Victor was very lucky because other people couldn't see him. Now he was on the roof and didn't know what to do. People tried to kill the mutant, but he did not want to spend the ammunition only watching them. They shot him just his head, but it did not help and the monster remained alive. They did not even have any chance of fighting against such a strong creature. Therefore, Victor decided to stay there because he had no chance to kill his own. Suddenly, he looked at the clock and realized that there were only 3 people left alive. A few seconds, 2 of them were. It was at this point that he heard a shot and realized that he had started hunting. The enemy noticed it and tried to open fire. He had a gun, so calling the main character the coward, he shot him. But he made worse only to himself, because the monster heard him and immediately killed him, leaving no chance of salvation. Now Victor remained the last person who has been survived. He thought it was the end and now he passed the test. But in reality, it was not so. The monster was still very dangerous. And it was at this point when he was preparing to strike, looking straight at his goal. The monster smiled and looked straight at the main character. He held one of the men and left him alive. The monster did it specifically so that the game does not end and he could kill Victor. When the guy realized it, he was in deadly danger. After all, now he has no allies who could help. He tried to strike and try to kill the monster. However, he failed and the mutant easily destroyed the house. Victor was on the ground and hurt the stone. His old wound began to ache and bleeding began again. He tried to injure the main character, but he managed to evade this attack. He began to flee, trying to break away from him. But the mutant was not even about to let him go and started. This time, Monster was much faster than him because the developers modernized it. He easily caught up with the guy by punching his chest through his own knife. Victor felt very severe pain and started screaming. He understood that it was an end, and he did not squeeze a little bit to stay alive and come to the end. Once on the ground, he tried to hold on and not to die. He saw a gun in front of him and wanted to try to get to it. Meanwhile, the man who was held by the mutant remained alive. Victor could not rise and began empty, leaving behind a bloody mark. It remained quite a bit, but he realized that life forces left him and he died. Still, gathering, he managed to reach the gun. Now he tried to make a shot. To stop him, the monster rushed at him and tried to get. But at the last moment, the system stopped it. Mutant remained standing still. It has not moved because now the game will end. The guy who was his hostage died. Victor shot him just in his head to save himself and finally complete this terrible game. Due to the terrible injury, he managed to stay alive. And now, the monster's system has shut down. It will no longer threaten him. A new winner, and thousands of people who watched the event were identified. Victor became the new winners of this year's games. But he knew it was not the end, but still the beginning of his revenge and much more difficult the test that would be ahead for him. Victor realized that he began to die and gradually drained blood. He could no longer keep his eyes open and began to fall asleep. But the director and founder of the game was a different opinion. He wanted to hide the fact of the protagonist and mount the video differently. This is the first time they had such a dynamic and cruel game. The installation plan was completely ready. This video should be a hot topic for talking across the country, so official documents have to be prepared. The director wanted to carefully check the winner's profile, but his secretary did not understand what it was necessary to do it. In fact, everyone knew that Victor belonged to the 3rd grade. It was the lowest layer of the population, so it was impossible to allow it to become a world star, because this news will cause enormous outrage among other people. More, the secretary was not asked to ask questions, and he ordered to do everything exactly as it was necessary. The events were moved to the house where the winner lay. He woke up, realizing that he was in a safe place. However, Victor couldn't believe he managed to stay alive. He did not remember the last events of his life, but he also didn't know where he now happened to happen to him. He only recalled the severe pain he felt while Monster struck. Now he felt very tired and seemed to have been eternity in bed. He was not alone in the room. There were men next to him. They greeted him with a victory and gave a drink of water. The guys explained that he was in a training town that was the center of selection of the best. Victor realized that the first was successfully passed. Men in costumes and glasses had to take care of his health and were concerned if he had not hurt. However, Victor still did not understand anything there. Men were his leaders who had to help. The wounds the boy received during the game were cured with the help of biotreatment and special drugs. At that moment, he noticed how the wounds that were on his body simply disappeared, and there was no trace left. The guy could train quietly in the military center until a new test stage began. Now he was curious about how much time he had to recover and prepare. The leaders explained that the next game was to begin in a month. Also, the management gave him special documents and apologized for the difficulties that would arise during training. He could use everything in his house, but terrible memories of what happened did not leave him. He could not stop thinking about horrible issues that were at first level. I didn't know what danger to wait for him. On this, his conversation with the leaders was over, and they were going to leave him. The round that will expect him will not be the one that he came through. The conductors warned that he had to rest very well and gain strength. They wished him good luck and left the ward. The next morning, he didn't feel better. There was a time to have breakfast, so he went to a local dining room where all participants in the future test. Lunch was quite simple and did not cause any admiration. But he could not eat because he was very nervous through future trials. It seemed to him that he was not ready for it, as suddenly he saw Julia again and wanted to treat her potatoes. He gave her a piece of food, and she began to eat. For the first time, for the whole time, she was happy in his vision. Suddenly, the guy realized that he could not lower his hands at a responsible moment. After all, he managed to go through the first stage, and now he cannot seem so much. Therefore, he decided to do everything that was in his power to get ready and try to win again. He no longer wanted to eat because he didn't feel any taste. So, just left the dining room, leaving his portion to another man. Now, he went to the training ground. The sample stage was not just a game. It was a test of participants on their ability and skills. It was a survival game that took a week to keep in extreme conditions. Their result would be evaluated by several criteria. Among them was leadership, the ability to support each other and to survive in critical situations. Therefore, participants could choose who to unite in teams and how to survive. When Victor entered inside, other participants began to know it. It was a real training ground where many people have improved their skills. This is what the main character was going to do and wanted to work out. He was going to run and wanted to develop his speed and endurance. Other guys who watched him could not understand his intentions. This little worried Victor, he did not pay attention to any of them. He was just sure that he chose the right way and was ready to go to his goal. Victor constantly tried to improve. He read a lot, played sports, and ate. All other people could not understand why he was so hard trained, so they started laughing at him. Every day he read and tried to learn something new. and at the end of the day, he was tired of hard work on himself. Before the start of the test, very little time left. Therefore, people decided to have a special party. There were many guys gathered there and talked there, but when the main character came inside, they all died down and looked at him carefully. Victor went to the center of the room while remaining calm. The girl who worked in the restaurant suggested that he drink, but he refused and wanted to spend this evening alone. Therefore, I decided to choose food and dinner. Now, he needed to find some food. For that, he went to the dining room. He immediately attracted the attention of the suspicious guy who watched him. It seemed that he had some plan, and he didn't know who Victor actually was. And waiting for the moment, he decided to approach him and talk. At this point, the suspicious guy seemed very malicious, and he had exactly a plan. First, Victor did not pay attention to him at all. But then, the unknown decided to join him and sat with him at one table. Victor looked at him just in his eyes. He was not alone. There were many other guys behind him. They knew that the main character belonged to the 3rd grade that was the lowest in the country. Before, he managed to find out from employees, and now he did not know how he had to worry about becoming the winner. He managed to find out this from the employees, and now he didn't know how he had to go through to become the winner. The boys started laughing with Victor. However, he understood that he was trying to get rid of, so he remained calm. He decided to go away, not to attract attention. But the guys did not want to let him go so much and began to shout into the trail. They offended him and all other people who belonged to the same class. He tried to endure his best not to break down and love him. This moment, the guy said that all the people who belonged to the 3rd grade had to be killed. After all, they were all anyone and nothing worth in life. Now Victor's patience is over. He could not let him insult all people and say such disgusting things. Therefore, he grabbed the guy by his neck and was about to suppress. In his hands, he held a knife, so no one dared to approach him and try to stop. The guy he continued to keep his neck began to breathe. Victor was not going to let him go. Now, he began to lose consciousness. From his mouth began to flow foam from the lack of air. Now Victor was going to get it and wanted to kill with his own knife. But at the last moment, a conductor appeared in a suit that hurt him. It was a strong and accurate blow to the head that stopped Victor. The hero fell to the ground, and the life of the guy was saved. The conductor managed to be very timely because if he was late, the victims could not be avoided. Immediately, he was put in the camera for several days. He stayed there for a few days, but now it's time to open it. The conductors returned and were going to enter inside. The guy was already waiting for them and wanted to get out of here as soon as possible. He knew that soon the test had to begin, and he lost several days sitting here. The leading tried to explain that Victor was not right. After all, he could kill a person if it happened. He would be kicked out of the trial. However, that guy wanted to solve everything peacefully and ordered to release Victor. Now he was free, and the leaders began to lead it along the long corridor. In one of the rooms, he saw the same cars that would have teleported them to the new round. Everything was fully ready for starting the game. And suddenly, he realized that the game began right now. Because all participants were not told to enter their cars and take a seat. Each of them was given a bag with all the necessary things that were enough for the first time. The people who participated in this round will be much more serious opponents. The leaders were not sure that the main character would be able to survive until the end and pass the test. But even it was not scared by Victor, and he didn't think to give up. He trained hard and was ready for it. Victor took his place and prepared. The countdown began. Soon he should go. Victor did not forget that at any cost, had to remain alive. Suddenly it all started and he felt the capsule began to fly. It was very difficult to survive the flight and seemed now he was not the way the previous one. The capsule with people quickly rose into the air and began to fly in an unknown direction. And now, he saw a new location through his own window. Everything around him was white and seemed he was able to be high in the mountains where there was a lot of snow. The hero was on the snowy mountain. The probability of loss of valuable objects was very low. In addition, it was very dangerous and cold here, and the environment could also kill it. He tried to look around because, from a height, the entire valley was visible. In addition, he understood that the cold was now his greatest enemy. It was the first thing he was at risk of dying. The main survival items remained the same: a knife, a flask with water, and flint. It was not enough to stay even a few days. He landed too high, so it was necessary to find a suitable place to ignite the campfire and warm up. The clock showed the temperature on the street. There was a minus 30 degrees. There was no time left at all. In a few hours, it will die from hypothermia. It was necessary to descend, so the lower it was, the warmer it would become. Slow but confidently, he began to go down. Frost and strong wind were very disturbed by him, but he did not stop to freeze. It was very difficult to navigate in the area where he knew nothing at all. Everything around was covered with snow, so he didn't know in which direction it was necessary to move. He stopped at the foot of the mountain and tried to survey the area. Below was a large lawn where there could not be such a cold wind. However, he understood that this place could lead to other people who would also want to survive. But he believed in what he could, but for the beginning, he had to stock up with water. He began to pour snow inside his flasks in order to get water. The snow will melt from the temperature of his body. Now it's time to go forward. Victor began to move in order not to freeze. He could not stop because, in such a frost, it meant only death. On the road, he managed to collect dry branches and find a suitable place for the night. Soon the night would come, so he began to breathe fire and hoped only for being able to survive it. He managed to find a safe place at the foot of the mountain that will protect him from the wind. The fire warmed him as suddenly he heard the sound of animals. They were wolves and seemed to be able to get too close to him. This guy didn't expect. He completely forgot that this round could also be dangerous animals and mutants. Then, he realized that it was the bright fire that was warming him that had attracted the attention of the animals. Now he couldn't fall asleep. He had to stay out of nothing. So the main character stayed up until dawn, watching him so that he would not be attacked by animals. Due to the flames he supported all night, he managed to survive the cold. Now he exhaled with relief, but realized that he managed to live the first night that was the hardest. Now began to greet, and he had to come up with a new plan and start looking for valuable items. It was necessary to continue to go down to not suffer from severe cold and frost. Therefore, the next moment, he began to move. All the time, he tried to look at his feet, and suddenly he managed to see the strange path that the animals walked. These were traces of someone's paws and seemed to be a lot of animals. At the same time, the guy continued to collect firewood for himself to be able to breathe fire again. At the same time, he managed to create a trap, and he was going to catch animals to get meat. The guy hoped will be able to catch at least one rabbit. As suddenly, he heard again, and the wolves realized that the danger was approaching. As long as the beast did not see him, he managed to hide in the forest. After getting a knife, he waited for the mutants to attack him and was ready to reflect on them. Now there were a whole pack, and there were many animals. As it turned out, they were hunting and surrounded by a wild deer. All the time, Victor watched carefully at what happened. He understood that the animal was doomed, and he would not be able to save her. In addition, the lessons were very hungry and will not miss this opportunity for themselves. However, the deer did not want to give up so much and decided to fight to the very end. It was a strong and brave animal. Therefore, he prepared to meet his death. He managed to injure one of the wolves with his own horns, but they all acted together, so they had a quantitative advantage. Despite the fact that the deer tried to defend themselves, they quickly surrounded and killed it. Now they began to break its flesh and devour, and the guy was just watching what happened from a safe distance. He had a new plan because he realized that his body also needed a lot of meat. Therefore, he was in no hurry to leave that place and just waited. The beast could hear him, so he tried to choose a more protected position. At the same time, he tried to move very slowly and carefully, but created a lot of noise. Realizing that he was noisy, Victor fell to the ground and lay, not to move. He did not look in sounds and tried to follow them or to predict the attack than to react. But they were so busy eating a deer that they did not pay attention to it at all. The wolves were truly very scary and evil. If they seize a guy, he will definitely not be able to escape. Suddenly, he met with a look with a pack of flock. It seemed that it was an end, because now the wolves rush at him and tear on pieces. And it was at this point that they all started to roll, and after that ran in his direction. It was an end. At the last moment, what he did not expect at all, because the beast turned and ran in a different direction. They left him and Victor couldn't calm down for a long time. He trembled, but finally realized that he really managed to survive. Now he saw that there was a lot of meat on the skeleton. He could not just leave him, because it depended on his own survival. Therefore, without hesitation, he got a knife and began to cut, collecting for himself every piece that could be eaten. He broke the bones and tried to chew them. The guy was so hungry that he ate meat raw, and the fact that he could not eat decided to take with him. Also, he took a lot of bones inside which the bone marrow could remain, as suddenly he heard a strange noise that became closer and closer. In the end, he heard a step and saw a person approaching him. It was a girl who was very scared. Victor got a knife, but did not start attacking her because I see that she was afraid and froze. She was so cold that she couldn't say a single word. The girl all the time stood silently, seemed to be very lost and frightened. Victor realized that she would like to ask for help, but when he could not take with him. She constantly looked at the body of a dead deer. There's a lot of meat left there, and now the guy realized what she really wanted. He hid the weapon and decided to leave, leaving it alone with the body of the animal. A hungry girl also started eating and trying to take meat with her. Victor thought it was the right act. After all, in this round, they did not need to kill each other, and the points could be earned for help. In addition, he noticed that despite his appearance, the girl had a very good knife. The boy continued to descend, trying to find a safe place for himself. He received 50 points for social assistance, again showing a live broadcast of everything that was happening in the arena. Victor was the first player to earn so many points and meet another person. In addition, the difficulty level of this level was very high. Many people died on the first night because they couldn't find a safe place to stay warm. 2 days had passed, and today was supposed to be a special night. This was supposed to be a first, because the organizers had never done this before. The game of survival continued, but what changes awaited them? The hero carefully surveyed the area around him, trying to find a safe place. And suddenly, he managed to find something that caught his attention. It was a cave where he could fit and spend the night. So he tried to check out the place and lit a torch. It seemed very safe inside because there were no traces or smells of wild animals. Night would soon fall, so he decided to stay there and built a fire. After laying out his equipment, he began to cook the meat he had brought with him. It was very cold outside, and that night the frost and snowfall were much stronger. Even in the evening, he felt that it was very cold. Soon midnight would come, and he saw the snowfall getting stronger with every passing minute. He was very lucky to find such a good cave. He didn't sleep at all last night, so he started to fall asleep. But suddenly, he heard a very loud noise that woke him up immediately. Not understanding what was happening, he rushed outside to check and see everything with his own eyes. It scared him very much because he did not know what was happening. But when he went outside, he saw nothing. Suddenly, there was another loud noise from the sky. It was a huge plane flying very low right above his head. He tried to understand what was really happening. It seemed that this plane was not just flying by and that something was about to happen. But nothing happened. Victor was already scared. He thought the plane might drop new monsters. But suddenly, its rear hatch began to open. He held his breath, not knowing what to expect. On a nearby mountain not far from him, cargo was dropped. The cargo slowly descended to the ground and burned with a bright light, attracting the attention of everyone on the island. The hero also noticed it and wanted to know what was actually inside. But there was no doubt that these were supplies that would be useful for survival. Therefore, he prepared for the journey and wanted to do it right away. It was not very far, and he thought that the container was less than a kilometer away. He couldn't delay because other people had also noticed it and could set off at any moment. But setting off in such weather was suicide. On the other hand, he understood that if he took these supplies, he would have a good chance of survival. Despite his fear, doubts, and the strong wind, he decided to go ahead. Due to the blizzard, it was very difficult to stay on his feet. In addition, it was very cold outside and almost nothing could be seen. The trees were bending in the strong wind, but that did not stop him. He felt that his fingers and other parts of his body were freezing. His nose and lips turned red from the cold and frost, and he could hardly feel them. The only thing that could help him was a torch. He could see the bright light shining from the container, so he knew which direction to go. He knew he couldn't stay outside for long. He couldn't relax and waste time because in a few hours he would be completely frozen. He had to focus on the light and move in its direction. But ahead, the path was very difficult. With each passing minute, it became harder and harder to climb. Because the container was on a high mountain that was impossible to climb. He had to do something else. And suddenly, he realized that everything would not be as easy as it seemed at first. All he could see in front of him was snow, and the darkness that never ended. He moved between the trees, trying to avoid danger. The most important thing was not to get lost, so he kept moving forward, straight towards the light. He was very lucky that there was one at all. Now, Victor found himself at the foot of a steep mountain. To get to the mountain, he needed to climb. But his hands were frozen. He didn't believe he could do it. Because of the tall trees and heavy snow, he couldn't see the light well. Now he didn't know in which direction he needed to move. It seemed that he was lost, but as before, he kept moving forward. His clothes were slowly starting to freeze, and he felt that he would soon be able to move on. Now, it was very difficult for him to continue climbing. Moreover, he could not see where he needed to go and could barely stand on his feet. Suddenly, he stopped, because in front of him was a high mountain that did not allow him to move further. He did not understand anything because he was not ready for this. Now, Victor knew that it would be impossible to go around the rock, and in order to get to the cargo, he had to climb the mountain. Ahead, there was a high mountain, and he did not know if he would be able to get up the mountain. He did not have any equipment, and climbing in such weather was very risky, so dangerous. However, he had not overcome such a long and dangerous path in order to stop. And despite the fatigue and severe pain, he decided to do it. Therefore, grabbing onto the rock, he tried to get up the mountain. The stones were very cold and low, so at any moment he could break off or fall to the ground. To hold on, he made a huge effort. The light from the container was getting closer and closer, so he almost reached his goal. But suddenly, he stepped on slippery stones and began to fall. Victor understood that this was the end, but at the last moment, he managed to grab onto the sharp stones. This saved his life. He held onto the mountain with his fingertips, trying not to fall to the ground. His hand began to bleed because he cut himself painfully on sharp stones. Despite this, he did not let go and continued to hold on with all the strength he had. He understood that he had to move on, so he took out a knife. With the help of it, he tried to help himself. He simply had no other choice. It was the only way to survive. Therefore, he began to hit it against the sharp rock and climb the mountain. It was very difficult for him and it took too much strength. But he tried to hold on and slowly moving uphill. Because of the cold, he could hardly feel his hands and feet, but nothing would stop him. Finally, he managed to reach the mountain, the last step, and he was already in front of the container, which was glowing with a bright light. Now, he needed to catch his breath. Several times he almost fell and died. Victor was proud of himself for being the first to get here and staying alive. But now, he needed to check what things were really there. What if there was nothing valuable there and there was only a monster or explosives inside? Victor hesitated, but in any case, decided to check it out. Opening the container, he saw that the light had become even brighter. Now he just looked at the items that were there. But Victor didn't dare to take them out. After all, he was still afraid that it was a trap. However, when he understood everything, he couldn't believe his own eyes. These things could really save his life. The first thing he saw was a jacket. Other food and supplies were hidden under it. There was a map and other winter clothes that could save his life. There was a lot of food. It was food that didn't spoil at all. In addition, there was an incomprehensible box with a strange substance inside. It was a bioregeneration injection, and it was exactly what had saved his life in the previous round. Few people knew how to make such a valuable drug. The guy didn't want to use it until he was in a real fight. But now he had more important reasons for doing so, because his arm was badly injured and he risked bleeding. So without hesitation, he injected himself with the entire drug, and saw how at that very moment his hand began to heal and recover. His body temperature had completely recovered, and now he was not cold. Finally, he could feel much better. He managed to pass the critical moment, and now he believes that everything will change and he will be able to return to his shelter. The guy started to get dressed. The things he managed to find were indeed very valuable and warmed him. It's a pity that there were no weapons inside. But in this round, there was no need to kill, so this should have been enough. He simply left his clothes in the same place and left. The next day, the people who were also trying to get to the box realized that they were too late. They worked in teams, barely believing that someone had managed to get ahead of them. The people were late and were very angry about it. The leader, a man they already knew, tried to find fault with what had happened. He blamed each of them for what had happened and for not being the first to arrive. The girl Safia was going to suffer the most, and she understood it perfectly well, because she was the one who suggested going to the container at dawn. The man approached her and hit her in the face with all his might. Lucas couldn't calm down and started beating her. The guys tried to calm him down, because nothing could be changed anymore. The one who came at night was a real psycho and suicidal. Sofia couldn't calm down and wouldn't stop crying. And the man continued to insult and mock her. Sofia was so disappointed that she promised to try better and never let him down again. She didn't want to be left behind and condemned to death, and she asked to go with them. In his cave, the hero tried to examine the supplies he found. Among them was a lot of energetically valuable and nutritious food. Among everything, there was another, no less valuable item. It was a bag with various tools for woodworking. With the help of them, you could build for yourself. Also, the most valuable item was the axe. And the next day, he started chopping trees. With them, he wanted to close the entrance to his cave in order to keep warm and safe. When everything was ready, he needed to make a weapon. Therefore, he tried to make a bow with which he could hunt prey. For this, he used a branch and a rope. And when everything was ready, he wanted to check how it really worked. It seemed that he was perfect, and soon he would be able to go hunting. Victor understood that soon he might run out of food. Therefore, he could not wait. While it was not very dark outside and only evening, he decided to go out and check the area around him. The snowfall was very heavy, so he could not see anything. Victor understood that he would get lost if he tried to go too far from home. He peered into the path, trying to see something. Suddenly, a loud rumble he heard behind him. In addition, he saw someone's silhouette right in front of him. But what was it really? The shadow that was in the darkness moved very quickly and seemed to be gigantic. Suddenly, he heard a loud roar, and then he realized that it was a bear. It was very dark, so meeting it was very dangerous. Victor decided to go back and try to find it the next day. Also, he felt that he was scared again. The next morning, he tried to improve his weapons. To do this, he had to cut down several trees. Also, he made arrows for himself, because he had to be fully prepared for a meeting with the beast. The next day, he went in search and saw a huge number of bodies not far from him. These were wolves he had encountered before. They were all dead. But who was capable of such a thing? Did any of the people have weapons? However, claw marks were visible on their bodies, which meant that they had been killed by a much larger and stronger beast. Suddenly, he smelled a strong stench coming from the bushes. It was the smell of ammonia, which he would never confuse with anything else. Victor headed in that direction. However, there were again a lot of wolf bodies lying on the ground. Suddenly, his attention was drawn to a tree that grew right in front of him. At his own eye level, he managed to see a giant claw mark. The boy tried to compare the size of his claws. He tried to estimate the bear's approximate height, and he realized that this beast was simply gigantic. After all, it could reach 3 meters in height. He simply could not believe that an animal of such gigantic size existed. Suddenly, he felt someone's presence, and he realized that someone was watching him without looking up. When the boy looked around him, he saw wolves constantly watching him. He realized that the animals that managed to survive were also scared, so first of all, he needed to escape from here. However, as soon as he moved away, he saw how the animals continued to pursue him. You didn't want to stay and followed him. The hero understood that you didn't see anything incredibly big or were very scared. In the meantime, he decided to check his own traps, but there was nothing there. There was one last trap left, which he was going to check, because none of the previous ones brought any results and he didn't catch anything. Now he saw that he managed to catch a rabbit. He was satisfied with his work because now he had normal food. After the hunt, he was going to return to his own home. But on the way home, he realized that something was wrong. The entrance to his cave was broken, and all the wood was dismantled. After that, he heard human footsteps behind him, and he realized his hideout was found and attacked. At the last moment, he saw an unknown man trying to attack him with a spear. He understood that he wanted to kill him and was hostile. Fortunately, Victor was able to dodge him and survived. But the unknown was not going to give up and tried to hit him again. From approached the main character and looked directly at him. The unknown knew that it was he who robbed the box that should have belonged to them. He wanted to take away all the supplies and clothes that he had. However, Victor did not want to give up, so he was going to fight him. The guy went forward, and Victor was left to wait. He threw his own spear. However, the hero managed to repel this attack. As it turned out, the criminal also had a knife, and right now, he was going to wound him. He was ready for anything, just to take away his resources. Victor was able to dodge again, and right now, he was ready to strike back and try to win. With a strong punch, he knocked out the man. But he quickly got up, and Victor had to attack him again. With one strong and quick blow, he caught his hand, and the enemy started bleeding because the cut was very deep. The enemy did not give up. He continued to move forward and fight with Victor. But Victor tried to warn him not to come closer. Realizing that it was not so easy to defeat Victor, the man started to run away. However, the hero could not let him go so easily. Moreover, after what he saw, the guy would return again with other people. Victor took aim and prepared to shoot. He did not know if he would be able to hit, but he simply had no other options. Therefore, he fired a shot and saw how the arrow began to fly in his direction. Suddenly, the guy fell to the ground and did not get up. Victor managed to hit him. There was a bloodstain under him. The enemy was dead. The hero searched him and took away the knife and the main equipment he had. After some time, wild animals will gather, coming to the smell of blood. Therefore, he needed to return to his own house and repair the entrance. He had to do it before nightfall. Suddenly, he saw strange footprints in the snow that he had not noticed before. They immediately caught his attention, because they belonged to different people, since they had different shapes. Victor noticed the chaotic order in which they were arranged. It seemed that the people who were here were in a very big hurry. But suddenly, he noticed something that caught his attention even more. There was a red hair on the ground that belonged to some girl. He picked it up and tried to look at it carefully. After some time, night fell. Meanwhile, the people who were sitting in their camp were able to make a fire and try to warm themselves. Sophia, who had not been with them for a long time, was finally able to return. She explained that she was busy looking for food, but the boys were skeptical of her words after what happened. They did not talk to her and did not allow her to join the fire to warm herself. The girl constantly sat near the cold stones and did not talk to them either. The next day, the main character realized that he would have to go hunting. He managed to find a wild deer, the tracks of which he saw not far from his cave. He stood in the middle of a spacious clearing in a very visible and convenient place. Victor had been chasing him all the time and was able to hide behind a stone. The distance for the shot was just perfect. Therefore, he stood up and prepared to kill him. Suddenly, he pulled his bow and released a shot. The arrow hit the wild animal right in the body. From pain and fear, he began to roar and tried to run away. With all his might, he tried to escape, but now he was doomed. Victor was proud of himself and was glad that he was able to create such an effective and silent weapon. He began to chase him along the trail of blood that remained from the deer, and soon he found him dead. Now, he would have a sufficient supply of meat, which could last for several days. The deer was still breathing but could no longer run away. Therefore, Victor decided to end his suffering and simply killed him with his own knife. The organizers of the test were again summarizing the results of the previous day. Their attention was again attracted by the main character, who impressed everyone with his survival tactics. His actions were different from the actions of other participants who were united in groups. The organizers considered him one of the most interesting and intelligent participants they had ever seen. His survival methods were not like others, as if he had played this game from the very beginning to the end several times. For several nights in a row, Victor slept very poorly. He woke up again from a terrible nightmare in which he saw a huge monster. He heard constant screams of people and saw a giant bear, which constantly chased him. He had no doubt the beast which so frightened the wolves was a bear. He understood that soon his turn would come, so he had to prepare. After a while, he sat in his own shelter and cut. It was deep night in the yard, however. He did not sleep and waited for its appearance. He managed to strengthen his doors and make them very strong. Carving figures out of wood was his favorite thing to do as a child. It also helped him to hold on and not let him fall asleep. He managed to create a lot of traps that were supposed to protect his house. In addition, he made a large supply of wood for himself. He had weapons that he was going to use during the attack. Everything was ready to meet the enemies and fight them. Now he understood. The danger began to approach him. After all, he heard how his door was trying to be broken. Now he understood that the monster was already here and everything had begun. Victor prepared himself and took his weapon in his hands. He waited and watched as the bear tried to break down his door. Suddenly, after another blow, he saw a hole in the tree. Through the cracks, he managed to notice the beast itself, which looked inside. Victor was not going to delay and wanted to hit him with a spear. He managed to hit the hole and hear the bear scream in pain. Now, Victor realized that he was able to injure him because he saw the blood that belonged to the beast. After that, the bear began to smash the door even harder. With strong paws and claws, he smashed large logs and tore them into pieces. The boy did not stop and continued to hit him with a spear. But with each blow, he realized that he only drained the monster more. As a result, the beast's attack stopped. The hero was able to drive it away from him. But he realized that he could not relax. Suddenly, he heard a strange sound. This sound was the ticking of his watch, and now the boy realized that it was broken. He looked up and looked again at his own wooden door, which was almost destroyed. And there he saw the beast, which had not gone anywhere and was only going to attack with even greater force. Victor understood that now he was in real danger, because he would not be able to get rid of it so easily. The bear completely destroyed the door and broke his defenses. He threw Victor to the other end of the cave and wounded him very painfully with his paw. He started bleeding. Now, the beast approached him and stopped right in front of him. The boy thought that this was the end and did not even hope to escape this time. He felt that he was very scared, and due to the loss of blood, he might lose consciousness. Suddenly, the bear began to attack and wanted to hit him with its own paw. He wounded him painfully with his sharp claws. After that, he grabbed him with his paw and lifted him into the air, right in front of him. He was going to bite off his head, but he sniffed at his victim for a long time. He was seriously injured and was left without one eye. However, Victor had a little hope left. He had a knife in his hands, and he only hoped that he would be able to break free now. He, trying to overcome his own fear, squeezed it tightly in his hand. And in the end, he dared to strike hard. It was his game of survival, and he could not die. The knife hit him right in the head, so the monster let him go. The bear started shaking its head helplessly, and Victor fell to the ground in pain. In fact, the bear was a mechanism that was specially sent to him. He felt it from the camera that he broke when he hit him in the eye. Now Victor tried to crawl. He did not have the strength to lift, so he continued to move towards the exit of the cave. He had one last hope that could help him stay alive. And the beast had already started looking for him and was following his footsteps. Although he couldn't see him, he could still catch and smell his scent. In order to have time to break away, Victor got to his feet. But the bear didn't lag behind him a single step and was catching up. The boy was bleeding, but he understood that he had no right to stop. Despite the fact that he had managed to break away, the monster was catching up with him. Now he was very close, and realizing this, the boy began to panic. Nevertheless, he gathered his strength and was going to reach the same tree. There was very little left, and finally he was near his goal. In front of him was a tree on which his special trap was set. At this time, a beast approached him, which was about to attack him. To save himself, Victor fell to the ground. At this moment, his trap worked and hit the monster. Sharp thorns from the tree pierced his body. The bear was trapped, because due to the thorns that were stuck in his body, he could not move. They pierced his body through and through. From the pain, he screamed and roared so loudly that everyone in the forest could definitely hear him. Also, Victor saw that a camera was attached to his ear, which meant that he was constantly being watched. The bear tried to free itself and wanted to rush at him again, but he could not do anything. Victor understood that soon the wooden beams could break, so he needed to kill him as soon as possible. The guy started shooting from a bow. The first arrow hit his paw and pierced it through. But this was not enough, so he did not stop. Another one hit his body and got stuck there. The animal started screaming again in pain. However, Victor stopped. He hit him again and again. The bear was too strong, so it wasn't that easy to kill. Despite the fact that he could barely see anything, he didn't stop trying to attack and break free. And when the boy tried to shoot again, his bow couldn't withstand the strong tension and broke right in his hands. It was something he didn't expect at all and couldn't predict. At the same time, the tree started to break, so his trap could no longer hold the beast. Now he had completely destroyed it and was free. Despite the serious wounds he had received, the beast remained alive. And even now, it was going straight for the boy and wanted to kill him. Was this really the end and he had never been able to fulfill his promise? He didn't want to believe it, but now he had no weapons. The boy, with no chance of escape, was waiting for his death when suddenly he heard the barking of wolves. The wolves, who had managed to survive the bear's attack, ran straight for him. It seemed that they were going to take advantage of this moment and try to kill him, because they decided to attack only when the beast was seriously wounded. Meanwhile, Victor tried to crawl away from him, and suddenly, one of the wolves attacked the mutant and began to bite him right on the paw. Just behind him, others appeared, who also continued to do this. The animals tried to destroy their infernal enemy, because of which the entire pack died. Suddenly, Victor saw that the leader had appeared, the strongest wolf, who was going to attack and finally finish off the monster. He was the leader, the strongest and the biggest, so he tried to bite his neck. The bear screamed and tried to break free, but because of the wounds, he wasn't that strong. The wolf managed to bite his neck, and now the monster could die from bleeding. After a while, everything was over, and the terrible bear was killed. The wolves managed to take revenge on their enemy for killing their entire pack. But now, they stopped in front of the main character and looked straight at him, and he expected that they would start attacking him and just bite. However, it seemed that the wolves were not aggressive towards him. The wolf looked him straight in the eyes and seemed to want to say something. Victor realized that he needed to return home, and they just left him, and were also going to leave. The main character was left sitting in front of the body of the monster that almost killed him. After some time, he returned to his own home. The wounds on his body were very serious, so he tried to heal himself and wanted to sew them up. He put a lot of stitches and finally could go to bed and rest. This was his first night when he slept as if he was dead. Since then, a week has passed. He woke up at dawn and realized that he was able to survive this night. As it turned out, this was his last day of survival, and soon this round should end. Now, all the participants had to gather at the final point. The hero was still weak, so he decided to take as few things as possible with him. He was even sad to leave his own cave, which, for all this time, had even managed to become a real home for him. However, he had to move, so he left, leaving this place forever. After some time, he managed to arrive at the assembly point where soldiers and special teleportation machines were already waiting. They kindly invited him to go inside, so the hero started moving. But suddenly, on his way, he saw Sophia and Lucas, whom he had met before. Lucas immediately recognized him, so he took out a knife. Sophia had a very difficult fate because her own father sold her. He was convinced that he did it for the sake of his family and survival. He sold her for a huge amount of money and was not even ashamed of it. And Lucas became the one who bought her and paid the full amount. He forced the girl to work hard and follow all his orders. She was treated like an animal and forced to do the worst work. But, all the time, she played outside the rules and tried to do everything to not be noticed. Her life changed at the very moment when she first met the main character and saw how he tried to kill Lucas. Then she realized that there were people who were stronger than him. She forever remembered Victor's face. His evil eyes, evil face, and long hair. It was a real shock for her, because she had never seen someone so brave and courageous before. At that moment, for the first time in her life, she saw her master so helpless and weak. And she realized that he was an ordinary person, just like her. And when she saw Victor being brutally beaten by the guards, she felt something was wrong with her, because she felt Victor's pain on herself. After a while, she was able to meet him again, although the others did not believe it. And Victor simply silently shared with her the food he had, and simply disappeared. After that, she followed his footsteps every time to find him again. Sophia watched all his actions from afar and studied him. And, knowing the consequences, she helped the main character to always be the first for Lucas. When the girl saw the main character, she made a decision for herself, that when the game was over, she would leave Lucas forever and live her own life. But life was not as sweet as she thought. Lucas was a real demon and wanted to do everything possible to punish her. He was the one who took away her hope, and she just wanted to go with him. Together with Victor, for her, he had become a good teacher, but now Lucas was going to kill him. The game was not over yet, so he decided to do it at the last moment. The girl could not believe that she would never see the guy again, because he would die. Just then, the men ran in his direction, and Victor understood that he had very little chance because his wounds still hurt. However, he took off his jacket and, holding a knife, was ready to fight. There were 3 enemies, but this did not scare him at all. Sophia simply could not look at them, so she closed her eyes. It was then that she heard the voice of her adoptive father. And suddenly, she opened her eyes to see what had happened. But she saw that the main character started to fight and managed to injure the first attacker. However, now he himself was in danger. After all, they wanted to stab him directly in the neck, but he was able to cover himself with his hand at the last moment. Now he was going to strike back and manage to wound the enemy in the stomach. Now the other one tried to attack him from the side. He wanted to push the main character and try to knock him off his feet. But he managed to deal with him, and the only enemy left was Lucas. Sophia started to get nervous. She couldn't watch the main character die and bleed. He was stabbed again in the stomach. This wound was fatal. But the bad guy was satisfied. He wanted the guy to die, and he did it quietly. Suddenly, Victor saw something that could change the course of the battle. After all, the girl who had been standing behind him all the time could not stand it anymore. She grabbed a knife and wanted to rush straight at him. Lucas was not ready for this, and did not even expect that she could attack him. But now, everything was over, because she had killed him in cold blood. In a fit of anger, he began to finish off the men who were still alive. He was covered in blood and badly injured. But despite this, he did not stop. Now, his target was the wounded boy, who asked not to kill him and to spare him. But Victor slowly started to approach him. Lucas tried to threaten him and said that because of the murder, he could be kicked out of the game. But the hero did not even listen to him and started to lift himself off the ground. He was preparing for the decisive blow, and now he cruelly and cold-bloodedly cut his throat, regardless of all the threats. His blood got on Victor's face. Now the second game was over. The door to the house opened. A young girl came out of it who had lived there all the time. In front of her, she saw a stranger who was much older than her. Abigail did not know who he was, because she had never seen this man before. But why did he appear? After all, she was not expecting guests at all and did not invite anyone to her. In addition, he seemed very strange to her. The old man looked at her attentively, but was silent all the time and did not say anything. Suddenly, he suggested that she go with him and get into the car. Then he asked about the application for some competition, where she was trying to get into. Abigail wanted to become a cameraman, but couldn't find a job. She tried to apply again, but didn't even hope for success. As it turned out, she was punished for the third time. Silence fell again. The man and the girl were silent. Neither of them spoke. Suddenly, he handed over some papers. It was a list of participants. She took it out, hoping to see her own name and photo there. However, this time, she only had to choose. The man chose the participants he liked the most, and she had to choose one of all the people. And suddenly, she stopped at the main character's questionnaire. However, it was not possible. At the end of the second round, he killed several people by himself, which caused his scores to drop significantly. The management could not just leave it like that and not punish him. But Abigail had already decided everything, so she asked her husband to contact Victor. Suddenly, Victor woke up again from the terrible nightmare he had had. Now, he found himself in a new place, in a warm and soft bed. This time, he remembered everything. He recalled the last fight with the men who tried to kill him. But now his body was healthy again and he felt normal. All the time, he was injected with an incomprehensible drug that helped maintain his health. He tried to get up and move and realized that his strength had not gone anywhere. With each new level, his conditions became better and better. Suddenly, a woman in a suit entered the room. She introduced herself and congratulated him on passing the round. The girl explained that now he was in a special house for all participants. He would have access to training, treatment, and food. Only 1 month remained before the new round, during which time all the participants were supposed to work together. In addition, each of them was supposed to have their own operator, and he was chosen by one of them, and the next day, their first meeting was supposed to take place. He did not expect such a turn of events at all. Therefore, he was not ready for the appearance of a new person. The woman thanked him and left, leaving him to rest. The guy was left alone and began to think about what his words meant and who the operator should become. He knew that the participants could be chosen by one of the operators, who would teach them and help them. The operator himself chose for himself a person who had good grades and whom he liked. But now Victor did not know if he needed such a person. His goal did not give him peace, and the operator only prevented this. However, he decided to leave the difficult thoughts for the next day. Now he needed to sleep and regain his strength. Finally, he began to fall asleep, and for the first time, he could rest properly. Suddenly, a knock on the door woke him up. He wasn't expecting any guests, so he didn't expect to see anyone. Still, he decided to check what had happened, so he opened the door. In front of him was Sophia, the same one who had saved his life. She wanted to tell him something, but she was very scared and nervous. And suddenly, unexpectedly for him, she started to thank him. She came up to him and apologized for the fact that her group was so bad. The girl said her own name and wished him only victory. She left and the hero was left alone in his own room again. Now he was faced with a choice, but he did not feel any feelings for her. He needed to resume his own training and start running again. The next day, the assistant was going to take him to a meeting with the operator. The guy found himself in a large room where everything was supposed to happen. In the middle of the room, he saw a table. This was supposed to be a meeting place where the operator who had chosen him would be waiting for him. She was due to arrive soon, so he needed to get ready. And his assistant left the house, leaving him alone. The guy started waiting for his operator to appear. Suddenly, the door opened and a girl entered, accompanied by her bodyguard. She slowly and confidently began to move towards the table where Victor was sitting. Now that she had arrived, the servant bowed and was about to leave them for a serious conversation. Abigail looked at him intently and was silent for a very long time. The guy also did not dare to speak first. A very long time passed before she first spoke to him. It seemed that the hero was in despair, because for some time he did not answer, but continued to be silent. And then, he coldly and confidently replied that he simply had to win. It seemed that this answer satisfied her. She held out her hand to him, because she wanted to get to know him. Abigail was confident that she could become the operator of a real winner. Now they finally got to know each other. Without wasting time, the guy began to train and tried to improve his endurance. In addition, he wanted to train his fighting skills on a special simulator. It was important to harden his body to the cold and other extreme conditions. Suddenly, he heard a familiar voice. Turning around, the guy saw Abigail, who was constantly watching him. He didn't even notice it, so the cameraman's appearance was a surprise to him. However, he didn't pay attention to it and continued to train. He had many goals that needed to be achieved before the start of a new round. Abigail liked that he was so persistent because with him, she would have every chance of winning. Victor continued to run and ran one more lap. At this, his training ended and he was about to leave the gym. But the girl continued to pursue him. Despite the fact that Victor didn't talk to her, she continued to walk with him. Finally, he couldn't take it anymore and asked why she was chasing him. But she didn't answer his question. Still, he didn't chase her away because he understood that he couldn't give up on his operator. Next, he needed to go to the simulation room. This was the place where he was going to train his combat and self-defense skills. The simulation room was the best place for this activity. Therefore, without hesitation, he was going to go inside and start his training. Inside, there were no simulators, and the room was completely empty. As it turned out, it was Abigail who was supposed to set up his training and start the simulation. She asked him to get ready and take the appropriate position. The guy did everything she said, and Abigail was going to adjust the controls. In front of her was a special panel where she could choose the difficulty, number of enemies, and weapons. She decided to start with the simplest. The simulation started to run, and Victor saw that something strange was happening in the room. Out of nowhere, figures of his future enemies began to appear around him. This level involved a knife fight, so he received his first weapon. Now the same snowy location from his last round appeared in front of him, and he realized that this was a simulation of his last fight against 3 men. Victor was not mistaken, because everything was exactly like that. He braced himself, seeing the threat that had appeared before him. They were robots that were copying the movements of the men who had tried to kill him. Now he knew that he had to be extremely careful. As he had expected, 2 of them started attacking at the same time. This time, he decided to counterattack, not just defend himself. The first robot's attack was blocked. Meanwhile, Abigail smoked and watched what was happening. She was calm and confident that this simulation would be easy for him. In addition, she convinced the guard that the main character was indeed a good choice and a future winner. Victor was able to easily dodge the second attack. After that, he struck back. The first target was neutralized in a few seconds. But it was too early to draw conclusions because there were other robots that posed a threat. The girl believed that the hero was completely ready, so he did not need to be touched, so as not to arouse distrust. It was important to get close to the guy and not lose contact. The next enemy also had to be killed. He was able to cut off his head, and she rolled to the operator's feet. Like a ball, another robot began to approach him. However, this time, Victor was ahead of him and hit his knee with all his strength directly into the iron head. The guard was watching him closely and could not believe that a third-class guy could have such good fighting skills. The last enemy remained, approaching from behind. But Victor was not confused and was ready even for this. It seemed that this was the end and the simulation would be completed. However, he grabbed his metal hand. He managed to protect himself from the deadly attack and remain intact. In response, he was going to deliver a decisive blow. And this blow was the most powerful because he stuck the knife straight into the head. Now his last enemy was neutralized. At this, his training was completed. He successfully passed the first test, and the operator was satisfied with his work. Weapons and the enemies began to disappear from the room. Victor was amazed that this room could recreate a real battle. And Abigail was once again convinced that she had made the right choice when she chose him. But despite the fact that everything ended so quickly, the guy was very tired. Meanwhile, the events had moved to another place. Commander Miller's girlfriend tried to punish her soldiers for reporting poorly. She allowed herself to beat the men because she knew that she would get absolutely nothing for it. The girl really enjoyed it. Now, she was going to leave and leave them. She was in a very bad mood. After all, it had been a long time since she had killed anyone, and that was what she wanted to do most of all. The next few days, he also continued to train and improve. In addition, the operator tried to find any information about him, but there were no records of his family, home, or friends. Victor returned to his room late at night. Usually, he took a shower to relieve himself after a hard day. After that, he thought about his further plan of action and tried to identify his weak points in order to improve. Suddenly, he saw that the device on the wall began to glow. It was a communication device that could receive various messages. This time, he received a new notification that was mandatory to read. Victor thought because he didn't know if it was safe. It was a message for all the participants who were congratulated on Amplifier Day. Each of the participants had to make a choice that would affect their future. The man suggested that everyone become much stronger, but this message did not interest Victor. He decided to simply delete it so as not to be distracted. In addition, there was a phone number there that he could call. The guy thought for a long time before doing this, but in the end, he took this step. It was his operator's number. and Abigail was glad to see that he was awake. The guy didn't answer, but just listened to her. She warned him about the message about the amplifiers, so she ordered him to urgently go to the central market. But he dared to refuse. The fact is that he had no money at all. Abigail was surprised because she sent him the entire amount he needed. The main character didn't understand anything at all. And then she understood and remembered one guy. As it turned out, it was In-Law who was watching his games on TV. He was the man who decided to send him money. It was In-Law who was the only one the boy could call his family. After a while, a large amount of money was already in his possession. Abigail tried to give him everything he needed so that he could prepare and not die in the next round. Now that he had taken the money, she wanted him to go with her before there were even more people. Therefore, they went to a quiet and deserted place where no one could overhear their conversation. They went to the market because now he had money. In the central market, it was very difficult to buy anything. After all, the prices changed very often and were too high. People were angry about this, but they could not change anything. None of the participants had any money, so they all risked dying if they did not get the equipment. Abigail could not stand it any longer and watch people suffer. She did not like that the management set its own rules that did not allow people without money to get resources. The management and the sellers tried to remove people who did not have money and could not pay. This was not fair, because everyone should be on equal terms during the test. She approached the man who was the main seller of goods. The guy tried to improve his situation, however, he was noticeably nervous in her presence. And at that moment, she approached him and whispered something in his ear. It affected him so much that the man calmed down and bowed. After the conversation, she looked at the main character and invited him to go with her. When they went inside, they found themselves in a store with everything they needed during survival. There were many medicines that could heal deep wounds. Also, there were many amplifiers, which were very expensive but effective. The store manager suggested that they go with her. She led them to a department where there were a lot of different products. They were all taken off the market because they were about to go bad. Because of this, their price was much lower, and Victor was going to check everything carefully. One of the substances that interested him was an emotion enhancer that could be used in critical situations. However, to date, it has only been used for therapeutic purposes by the mentally ill. Victor paid no attention to this and decided to buy it. The guy ignored his operator's ban. He decided to buy the substance and use it at the first opportunity. After that, he just went home. After the market, the girl took him to her own room. It seemed like she was worried about him. After all, due to constant training, he could not recover normally, so he needed to rest. However, the hero did not answer, but simply closed the door, leaving her in the corridor. He understood that she was telling the truth, because he really almost did not rest. In his hands was a flask with a substance, and he carefully examined it. The substance was green. Still, he decided to try, and injected the entire contents into his hand. After that, for some time, he tried to lie still and not move. Abigail assured him that he would not feel any physical changes. However, this was not so. He began to feel a strong fear. He remembered the day when his beloved was killed. That day, he also died because he had lost any meaning to live. And he remembered that the thirst for revenge allowed him to hold on and not die. Tomorrow, the final qualifying round was to come, which had to be passed at any cost. And all this was only for the sake of Julia and for the sake of revenge. The next day, the final round began. All the participants gathered in one place and had to go out one by one and take special equipment. They were going to name 2 people each, so they had to be as careful as possible. In addition, the operator advised him to remember each of them. After all, very soon they would all become his enemies who would have to be killed. Now they began to name the participants who were to go out and go to the trials. The first was Sophia, the same little girl who, in a strange way, got into the selection. She came forward and was about to go to her cell. And the guy, when he saw her, could not believe his eyes. He remembered her face for the rest of his life. Abigail realized that something was wrong with him. After all, the guy remembered everything. He had not forgotten how cruelly she had treated him. Now his main goal was to find her and kill her first. He wanted her to die slowly. She approached the general and greeted him. Abigail tried to calm the guy down, but she saw that he had gone crazy and was behaving too aggressively. Then his name was called, and it was he who had to go with her. However, he was in no hurry because he understood that he would simply kill her and would not be able to hold back. He was already trying to think of a way to kill her. He wanted the death to be slow and cruel. And now he decided to kill her. And he already imagined how he would do it, how he would grab her by the neck and start strangling her. But what should he do next? Then, he would definitely be doomed and would not be able to take revenge on Miller, who was his main target. At the last moment, he managed to stop and calm down. After all, in this way, he would only do worse to himself. Now he was watching everyone closely, because soon they would all need to be killed. First, he needed to calm down. He was already sitting in his cell and preparing to send when suddenly he heard the voice of his operator. She warned him that from the very beginning of the game, they might not have any connection. The guy didn't worry about it. He wanted only one thing: to go to a new location as soon as possible and start surviving. He closed his eyes and began to set off, expecting that he would soon go to the battlefield. After all, he was at his destination. It was the location of an abandoned city in which there was a very high chance of valuable items dropping. In addition, the level of external threat was small. The guy got ready and confidently left his cell. The city in which Victor found himself was truly abandoned. And it was from this moment that the most important and perhaps the most difficult stage in his life began. Now he tried to find a safe place and his first weapon. This city was located in the desert, so it was very hot there. Victor found himself inside an abandoned house where there was a lot of sand. He tried to look around the room in search of valuable things. Suddenly, a strange box caught his attention. It was almost invisible and just crawled on the ground. He didn't know what could be inside, but he decided that such a find could not be left. When he opened the box, he saw a revolver and a balaclava inside. He took everything that was inside with him. Now he needed to move on and look for new items. But at that very moment, he realized that a sandstorm had begun in the city, so he needed to find shelter. In addition, he understood that he could not stop. In order not to suffocate from the sand, he began to go down, trying to examine each floor. On one of them, Victor saw a room that could have previously been a food warehouse. After all, there were a lot of shelves and space there. Holding the gun in front of him, he began to carefully enter the room. Victor moved very carefully because he did not know what danger could await him there. On the ground, there was a lot of sand, on which traces were left. Suddenly, he saw a small box again and hoped that there was water and food there. Therefore, he began to approach it, trying to open it. Perhaps there were essential items there, because it had a completely different color. Suddenly, he stopped. His heart began to pound terribly, and it seemed that he realized that he had fallen into a trap. Carefully, he began to look around. From the very beginning, he did not look at the sand and did not understand whether there were any traces in the room. But it was already too late. The unknown tried to hit him and swung the sledgehammer with all his strength. Victor managed to notice him at the very last moment. He managed to dodge and stay alive. In front of him, Victor saw a strong man who was able to hide and outrun him. In addition, he realized that the man was using a power amplifier. After all, he was very fast. His blows were incredibly strong, but Victor tried to dodge each of them. This time, he also managed to do it. However, the next time, he was much less lucky. The enemy hit him hard and threw him to the ground. He began to approach, but at this time, Victor took out a gun. He began to shoot at him. But he realized that the potion had a completely different effect, because the enemy did not even feel the shots in the stomach. It was necessary to look for another unprotected place in his body, so Victor did not stop and continued to shoot. Abigail, who was very worried about him, was watching him all the time. However, he succeeded, because the shot to the head turned out to be fatal. The operator could not believe that he managed to kill someone without even using the potion. But now, his enemy was dead and dropped his weapon. In the microphone, he heard a new notification. Abigail contacted him. At that moment, the entire audience saw him kill that guy live. Everyone liked it, so he quickly became the new favorite. Victor was not going to give up and continued to search the house. He managed to find a bulletproof vest, a bag, and goggles. Now he was ready to go outside and go on a real hunt. However, it could still be very dangerous, because the sandstorm did not end, but, on the contrary, only got stronger. Abigail tried to warn him that it could be very dangerous outside. However, he decided to do it because he wanted to find many other resources. You had to be very careful and always look in different directions. The guy was moving very fast, and because of the sandstorm, he could hardly see anything around him. However, he did not stop. After all, the sand could also hide him from enemies, who, most likely, were also armed. Now his goal is to find water and medicine. On his way, he managed to find an abandoned house. Without delay, he went inside and began to search it. Victor moved slowly and checked if there were any other traces on the ground. First, he wanted to go to the police station because he expected to find much better weapons there. He was lucky because he was the one on his way. In addition, he did not notice any traces on the ground. The operator reported that there was no one else here except him. and this meant that the chance of finding valuable items and weapons was very high. It was necessary to find everything as quickly as possible and escape. And suddenly he managed to find a room that was locked. He was going to open the heavy metal door that protected it. In order not to waste time opening the lock, he simply fired a shot and destroyed it. Now the door opened and Victor saw a huge box with resources. Inside was real gold. After all, he managed to find a machine gun with cartridges. This weapon was much better than his pistol. However, the weapon was in very poor condition, and there was no hope that it would be able to save his life. In addition, he managed to find a new, much better bulletproof vest. Several hours had passed since his stay in the city, and in this short period of time, he managed to find water. Also, there was food there, as he had brought with him. There was very little time left until dusk. Therefore, it was necessary to hurry in order to find a safe place before sunset. The guy tried to look around him and understand in which direction it was best to move. He also noticed that the storm was almost over. Now, visibility was normal, and moving just in the middle of the street was very dangerous. Suddenly, he saw an inexplicable flash in the tall building opposite him. He stared for a long time before he could understand what it really was. But Abigail ordered him to run and hide as quickly as possible. Now he realized that it was a sniper who had taken him into his sights. A few seconds later, a shot rang out. In front of him was a mailbox, which was the only cover on his way. Therefore, without hesitation, he rushed straight to it. Abigail tried to shout to him, but the hero did not respond. The bullet passed very close and grazed his cheek. Victor realized that he had been very careless, so he needed to concentrate. He decided to act, but he knew that it was very risky. Abigail gave him the coordinates of the position where his enemy was hiding. Therefore, the man prepared to open fire. Victor waited for his shot and looked out of his cover to open fire. He hoped that this would help him and kill the enemy, but it was all in vain. The machine gun was not very accurate. Despite this, he managed to damage the windows and break the glass in them. Now, the shots did not stop for long. It seemed that he managed to hit, and now his enemy was dead. But very soon, he saw the same flash again. The sniper was alive and right now, aiming at him. Suddenly, he felt a strong blow. A bullet hit his body. Victor found himself on the ground and could not believe that everything was over so quickly. However, he tried to get up because he had to change his own position. Then he realized that he was just scared. He was not injured because the bulletproof vest was able to withstand the bullet and saved his life. Abigail knew that he was a real sniper, so it was impossible to shoot back at him. Now, he did not have proper cover, and the sniper did not allow him to change position. The enemy continued to press him with fire, waiting for Victor to start running away. Now, the main character was completely isolated and found himself in real danger. The operator tried to talk and calm him down. However, Victor understood that he could do nothing because the enemy was just waiting for him to appear. He started drinking water again and seemed to be about to give up. Abigail forbade him to think about it and tried to shout. However, he no longer listened to her. Suddenly, he noticed something very strange in front of him. Something very large was approaching, right at him. It was another sandstorm. This time, it was much stronger than the previous one. Victor understood that this was his chance, and he could not stay here anymore. Therefore, now was the best moment to start running away. Therefore, he immediately started running, trying to save his own life. The sniper tried to follow him, but lost the main character. Victor tried to escape from him, but did not know in which direction he needed to move. He understood that soon the sandstorm might end again, so he hurried. In front of him, he saw only a tall building, so he decided to move in its direction. The sounds of shots began to be heard, and Victor understood that other people had also seen him. The sand cloud began to retreat. Now, in front of him was the most dangerous section of the road, because the dust no longer covered it. Victor decided to take a desperate step. He simply jumped out the window, breaking it. Now that he was safe, he finally had some time to rest. If Victor was not mistaken, this was the very house in which his enemy could be sitting. And most likely, he was on the 5th floor. It was impossible to stop, so as not to give him a chance to escape. With all his might, he began to climb, when suddenly new shots stopped him. The enemy began to descend, and suddenly, a grenade. It fell right into the main character's niches. The guy tried to jump back, but at that moment, a loud explosion rang out. His ears started ringing, and he couldn't come to his senses for a long time. But he understood that staying in this place was very dangerous. Victor got up and started shooting, trying to see his enemy, and wound him. Gradually, he started to climb, trying to find his opponent. Victor found a room he could be in, so he approached it. He tried to break down the door to do everything very quickly, but the enemy was already ready to meet him and opened fire. At the last moment, Victor was able to dodge and hide behind a stone column. From there, he also opened fire on his position, but it didn't bring any results. Victor understood that it was necessary to come up with something else and try to get the enemy. After all, now he had very few bullets left. Suddenly, the operator contacted him. The girl informed him about the metal door, which was on the left side of his enemy. Previously, he did not even notice them and now carefully looked out of cover to see everything with his own eyes. Indeed, there was a heavy metal door near him, so he opened fire. The guy hoped that the bullet would be able to bounce off and hit his enemy. After all, this was the only opportunity to reach him and wound him. And only now, he got out and the bullet was able to wound the man. He found out because he started screaming and realized that this was his chance to win. Risking his own life, he bravely left the shelter and rushed straight at him. The confused sniper did not expect such an encounter at all and was scared when he saw him. He was confused, but now it was too late to change anything. The girl ordered to kill him, and without hesitation, Victor did it and cold-bloodedly shot him right in the head. Now, the man was dead, and Victor emerged victorious from the deadly battle. At dinner, when it got dark outside, he began to look through all his things. As it turned out, the sniper had a map. It marked the city districts, along with the houses located there. In addition, now, having gathered everything he needed to prepare and try to wait out the night. The girl was constantly next to him and was also tired. Therefore, they agreed to take turns and change each other after a few hours. Therefore, Victor decided to fall asleep first, because 12 hours had already passed, and they had tried hard. Suddenly, he felt a strong push. The houses he saw in the window began to sway violently. Soon, he himself felt a strong push and could not understand what was happening. The whole city began to tremble, and it seemed that an earthquake had begun. Victor couldn't believe his eyes. After all, just before his eyes, an entire district of the city was destroyed. Victor understood that the ring of fire he had passed through earlier was nothing compared to this. Now, he needed to move to a new location before everything was destroyed. Suddenly, he noticed another, no less strange detail. It was a street with a lot of cars moving along it. And this meant that it was possible to use transport, which other players did. Victor didn't sleep almost all night. He watched the road and the people who would appear there. And when he saw one of them, he made an accurate shot. The bullet hit him right in the leg. He started screaming in pain, but Victor deliberately didn't let him die quickly. He wanted other people to come to his aid. And when that happened, he was ready to take even more lives. Another shot, and now, there were two of them on the street. The helpless men screamed in pain, but it was obvious that they were doomed. There were many corpses on the street. Victor was able to single-handedly destroy an entire unit. He had his own tactics, so he could not leave his shelter for several days. The girl asked where he learned to shoot so well. And as it turned out, he was taught this in a special school. And when the street was clean and all his enemies were dead, he simply left the shelter and searched their dead bodies. Thus, he managed to provide himself with a large amount of ammunition and supplies. In addition, he had a lot of food and water, which he carried with him in a bag. Sometimes he even picked up clothes from corpses, despite the fact that he was covered in their blood. It was the morning of the second day of his stay in the city. He was about to go to the city center, but suddenly, his watch started flashing red. Moreover, it happened not only to him. All the watches started to glow the same way as his. Now Victor was really scared, because he did not know what it meant. Suddenly, a hologram appeared from his watch. Victor saw his own image and could not understand what was happening. The same image he saw on the watches of all the other people, and it seemed to be some kind of special mark. As it turned out, he was the one who had the most kills in the entire game. And now, all the participants could see his location. Victor understood that things were very bad for him. After all, most likely, all the participants will open a hunt for him and will want to kill the strongest. Never before had any of them heard of such a rule, and it seemed that this was the first time. Now, he needed to hurry up and try to move to the safest place possible. Now, he should think only about his own survival and safety. The girl began to get nervous because she understood that the risk was too great. But that was not all, because Victor saw another danger. Just now, a new sandstorm was approaching, which was much stronger than the one he had seen before. He had no other options, so he decided to move forward. Meanwhile, the operator went to the management and tried to find out why the rules had been changed again, but the old man only smiled and pretended not to notice anything. First of all, it was a seam, so he wanted the audience to be delighted. This man was involved in what was happening within the game, and right now he was watching Victor try to save his own life. He was highlighted on the map and everyone could see his location, and he wanted the girl to leave his office. After all, right now, Victor needed her support and help. Therefore, she had no other choice and decided to cope with everything that fell to their lot. In the end, she promised to see him again and return. But the scientist did not believe it. He could not believe that Victor would be able to endure this and stay alive. But now, the guy was determined to go to the very end. Meanwhile, his enemy was preparing to meet him. This was her chance to kill Victor, so she was preparing to do it like never before.